The arena's obsidian walls absorbed the screams of the crowd. Thousands of Vorkani spectators filled the crystalline tiers, their six eyes gleaming with anticipation. Below, in the fighting pit that had claimed countless lives, Lyra prowled. She was magnificent and terrifying in equal measure. Standing nearly 3 meters tall at the shoulder, her muscular frame rippled beneath midnight black fur that seemed to devour light itself. Rows of crystalline spines ran along her spine, each one sharp enough to pierce starship hull plating. Her jaws could crush durasteel, and her claws had torn through combat mechs. Lyra was the Vorkani Empire's ultimate executioner, a creature bioengineered for one purpose: to destroy. The arena master's voice boomed across the stadium. "Citizens of Vorkon, today we demonstrate why humanity's rebellion is futile." The crowd roared. "Behold, a human child captured from the colonies. Let Lyra show these vermin what awaits their kind." A hatch opened on the opposite side of the arena. The crowd leaned forward, hungry for blood. Evan Cole stepped into the light. He was small, even for a human child of 8 standard years. His brown hair was matted with dirt, and his simple gray tunic hung loosely on his thin frame. He carried nothing, no weapon, no armor, no hope. The Vorkani had ensured that. They wanted this execution to send a message across every human colony. Resistance was death. Lyra's nostrils flared as she caught the child's scent. Her lips peeled back, revealing fangs like obsidian daggers. A low growl rumbled from deep within her chest, shaking dust from the arena floor. The crowd's anticipation reached a fever pitch. But Evan didn't run. He stood there, small and impossibly fragile, and looked directly at Lyra. His blue eyes met her 6 crimson ones without flinching. For a moment the arena held its breath. Then Evan did something that no condemned creature had ever done before in that pit of death. He smiled. "Hi there," he said softly, his voice barely carrying across the sand. "I'm Evan. You must be Lyra." The beast paused mid-stride, her enormous head tilting slightly. Confusion flickered across her alien features. In all her years of slaughter, prey had screamed, begged, fought, or fled. None had ever spoken to her. None had ever used her name. Evan took a tentative step forward. The crowd gasped. The arena master's translator crackled with disbelief. "You're beautiful," Evan continued, taking another step. His voice was gentle, almost reverent. "They said you were a monster, but you're not, are you? You're just lonely." Lyra's growl faltered. Her spines rattled uncertainly. Something in the child's tone bypassed every combat instinct, every genetic modification, every year of conditioning. It reached something deeper. Something the Vorkani engineers had thought they'd eliminated when they created her. "I'm scared," Evan admitted, his small hands trembling. "But I think you might be scared too." "That's okay. It's okay to be scared." The crowd began to murmur nervously. This wasn't the spectacle they'd paid to witness. The arena master barked an order through the loudspeakers. "Lyra, execute!" But Lyra didn't move. Her massive head lowered slightly. Her 6 eyes fixed on this impossible child who spoke to her as if she were something more than a weapon. Evan was close now, barely 3 meters away. Close enough that Lyra could end him with a single swipe of her claws. Instead, he slowly extended his small hand. "My mom used to say that everyone needs a friend," Evan whispered. "Even the lonely ones. Especially the lonely ones." The arena fell silent. Thousands of spectators watched in stunned disbelief as the 8-year-old human child reached up toward the galaxy's most feared predator. Lyra's breath came in short, confused huffs. Her combat protocols screamed at her to attack, to kill, to fulfill her purpose. But something stronger held her frozen, a feeling she'd never experienced in her 5 years of existence. Recognition, connection, the possibility of being seen not as a weapon, but as a being. Slowly, impossibly, Lyra lowered her massive head. Evan's small hand touched the bridge of her nose, barely the size of one of her nostrils. His touch was gentle, fearless, accepting. "There you are," he breathed. "I see you, Lyra. You're not what they made you. You're more." A sound emerged from Lyra's throat that had never been heard in the arena before. Not a growl, not a snarl, but something softer. A whimper. A question. Then chaos erupted. The arena master shrieked orders. Security guards rushed toward the pit entrance, weapons charged. But they were too slow. Something primal had awakened in Lyra. Something the engineers had tried to bury but never truly destroyed. For the first time in her existence, she made a choice. Lyra's massive form spun toward the approaching guards, placing herself between them and Evan. Her roar shook the entire stadium, but it wasn't the roar of a mindless beast. It was the roar of a protector, a guardian, a friend. The guards opened fire. Plasma bolts seared through the air, but Lyra was already moving. She snatched Evan gently in her jaws, carefully, so carefully, and leaped toward the arena wall. Her claws found purchase in the supposedly unclimbable obsidian. She climbed like a force of nature. The crowd scattered in panic as Lyra reached the upper tiers. She burst through the crystalline viewing panels, leaping from platform to platform, always keeping Evan safe in her protective grip. Alarms blared. More guards appeared. But nothing could stop a creature like Lyra when she'd finally found something worth protecting. They crashed through the arena's outer wall and into the purple twilight of Vorkon's capital city. Lyra ran, powerful legs eating up distance, carrying the small human child away from death and toward something neither of them had dared hope for: freedom. As sirens wailed behind them and the cityscape blurred past, Evan held on to Lyra's midnight fur and whispered, "We're going to be okay. We'll find the others. We'll go home together." And deep in her chest, where the Vorkani engineers had tried to place only rage and hunger, Lyra's heart finally understood what it meant to be more than a weapon. In saving this one human child, she had saved herself. Behind them, the Empire scrambled to respond. Ahead lay uncertainty, danger, and a long journey to human territory. But as they disappeared into the alien wilderness together, a ravenous beast and a brave child, the galaxy learned an important lesson. Humanity didn't survive the cosmos through superior strength or advanced weapons. Humanity survived because even their children understood something most ancient species had forgotten. Compassion could tame the untamable, and friendship could forge the strongest armor. The Vorkani Empire would never forget the day a human child turned their ultimate weapon against them, with nothing more than kindness. And across the human colonies, when word finally reached them of what happened in that arena, they nodded knowingly. Of course, a human child had befriended the monster. That's what humans do. That's what makes them terrifying. That's what makes them extraordinary. That's what makes them human.